What's up, YouTube? Mitch Lamacy here, and today I'm going to guide you guys through the Arbiter Disciple. Now, this is one of the best builds, I would say. This is like your S tier of build, probably, that Diablo 4 has. It is extremely strong, and it plays well for people that want to be a little bit more passive. You can run around and just have your tentacles kind of doing all of the stuff. Currently, I've cleared tier 101 of the pit with this build. It can go higher. I'm going to switch over to this. It can go higher. I think I could clear 105 or 106 right now with it if I wanted. It would take, I'd probably push. But I cleared 101 with about 10 minutes left. So plenty of time on that. And I cleared it a while ago before I got some better upgrades. So let's dive in and talk a little bit about the build. We'll start with the skill tree, and then we'll go from there. So with the skill tree, the build is as follows. Just 1 point and honestly anything up here. I'm not using any generators in this build, so just 1 point to go forward. Over here, I'm not using any core skills either. I am simply getting on guard and riposte. This just gives the armor and block chance, which we do want, and I'll explain that a little bit later. For our auras, we are using all 3 auras. So 1 point in all 3. If you want to put more points into Defiance, you can. This can be kind of a place for extra points, as it does give you more armor and resistance. And more armor is more damage on this build. So that's why we really like that. For the mods, we're going to enhance Fanaticism and Rite of Vengeance. This is just to increase critical strike damage, which is nice. Enhance Defiance and Rite of Prayer. This heals you and gets you stacks of Resolve. And then enhance Holy Light and Rite of Submission. This gives you Stunning, which gives crowd control, so we can take advantage of crowd control nodes. We also have Longevity for increased healing, and then Renewal for blocking fortifies you, just so you can have that fortify as well. You can see my life is 8,500, and I have 8,500 fortify as well. So getting a lot of that through those. Coming down into here, I have a point in Aegis, and then we go up to Stay Resolute. This allows gaining or spending Resolve, has a chance to trigger a free Aegis, and it grants maximum stacks of Resolve, which is what we really want. We want to be able to keep granting max stats of Resolve, as Resolve increases your damage reduction, makes you very tanky. So you can, of course, cast it yourself, but then you'll be just proccing it a lot anyways, because you're going to be gaining Resolve. We also have Falling Star, so we have a point over here. This is nice for mobility, and it can put you into your Arbiter form, which you want. And then Falling Star has an additional charge with Free Fall, is just nice. Though, honestly, if you wanted, you could maybe, do something else a little bit. But the main thing is you really just want to be able to cast it, right? Over here, Best Offense for increased damage while fortified. Of course, mixing well with our fortification. And critical damage, strike damage while fortified. Down here, I have Crack in the Armor for increased damage to vulnerable enemies. In Arbiter form, everything is going to be vulnerable near us, so this is just going to improve that. And then there is cooldown reduction. I got rid of it because I have so much cooldown reduction on everything I don't need anymore, but High Charity can be nice if you do feel like you need a little bit more cooldown reduction to make sure you can stay perma Arbiter form. We have Righteousness for increased holy damage because that's the damage we're doing. 1 point there, and then Dizzying Blow for increased damage to crowd control enemies, which we talked about before. We are now crowd controlling them with the Holy Light, right? Having this Rite of Submission. Additionally, we have all of these maxed out. This is just all for crit strike and crit damage, and we want all of those because we're going to be doing a lot of critting in this build. We have Shining Armor. This is just for the unique weapons and shields to gain damage and armor and stuff, which we do have. And then Giant Slayer for increased damage to elites and to healthy enemies. Both very good. And then Master Craftwork for your armor is increased by 150% chance of your shield blocks chance. And again, I'm going to show you very soon why armor is absolutely busted. I have a point in Arbiter of Justice, and then we want to get Seraph's Wings, which grants us move speed, wing strike damage, and makes nearby enemies vulnerable. Like we talked about before, we want all of that for the vulnerable damage. And then we have Exaltation, which increases our damage, and wing strikes strike 1 additional time. So all of that gives us a nice Arbiter form, right, that allows us to move around in this Arbiter form for a long time. And if you look, you can see this has a 49.9 second cooldown, but I can be an Arbiter for 46 seconds. And then, of course, I can also just be an Arbiter over here as well, every 6 seconds. And all of this is made possible for the additional stuff through our Disciple Oath, which allows us to, casting a Disciple skill, grants Arbiter, right? So if you cast a Disciple skill with the cooldown, we get Arbiter, and Falling Star is a Disciple skill, so that works for us. We can just cast that. And then additionally, casting it also does it with the Arbiter of Justice, because that works too. And so we can infinitely permastay in Arbiter form. It also gives us wing strikes to gain Disciple skill benefits, and your Disciple skills deal increased damage in Arbiter form. So just really nice for the build. If we want to take a look at the Paragon, here are the boards that I have. So we have our starter board, of course. Castle is the most broken board. This is the first board for every single Paladin guaranteed. It is the most broken thing ever, and it kind of is so broken that I don't think using a two-handed weapon is ever going to be the play, because it's just way too strong to have a shield and have that bonus armor. So you can see sitting in town here, we've got 1,089% armor bonus, and I can have even more bonus. And remember, there's all of the extra things that, like, when I'm out there and hitting stuff and doing stuff, my armor bonus is going to go up even higher. So it gets up to like 1,600% multiplier damage. This is ridiculous. This node is absolutely brokenly ridiculous. You want armor. Armor is so important. You should be pushing armor on all of your gear, which I haven't even done yet. But like, you want to get armor on like all of your gear, because all armor is just more damage, which you can see right here with the castle. So I'm going up and I'm grabbing any nodes that are like 6% armor, 1.5% armor, right? Every armor node that I can find, I'm doing. And we can dive a little bit into the Paragon boards, but we'll talk about those ones first. The next board that I've picked up is Divinity. This is just when in Arbiter form, you deal increased damage to vulnerable enemies. Plain and simple. And the ordering of this isn't perfect, by the way. I should probably like rearrange my boards. This is kind of how I built them as I went, but it's good enough. I also have Relentless, which while moving, you deal increased damage and have cooldown reduction. So again, more cooldown reduction. That's making us able to stay in Arbiter form forever. And then the last board I have is Shield Bearer. And this is because we have 110% of your block chance, and I have 100% block chance. So my current bonus is 110%, right? Pretty simple. So just a nice way, because I have 100% block chance. So just a nice way to get a bunch of damage added in right there with another 110% bonus. The glyphs I'm currently using are Arbiter, which just increases the Arbiter wing attack damage, which is fantastic. I haven't leveled my glyphs up to 100 yet, by the way. They're still kind of weak, but like they're okay. Resplendence, granting bonus damage to all the magic nodes. And then also after casting an aura skill, the active cooldown of every non-aura skill is reduced by 2 seconds, which is just helpful again. Apostle, for every 5 strength, your disciple skills deal more damage. Pretty plain and simple. Canny, which is for every 5 intelligence, your non-physical damage gets increased right there. And then Diminish, which is just bonus to all the rare nodes, and then reduce damage from vulnerable enemies. And again, everything is vulnerable. And then, of course, the increased damage to vulnerable enemies. So these are the 5 that I have right now. I do think using Spirit would actually be decent, getting the boost to the critical strike damage, because we do crit a lot. So I think Spirit could be replaced on a couple. You could have Challenger if you want to throw a bunch of nodes in there. Like you could have Exploit. There's some other glyphs. I don't think the glyphs are 100% perfect, but they're good enough. All of these glyphs are still very strong. So really what I'm looking for when I'm going through in these nodes is just armor everywhere, right? Everywhere I can pick up armor. Damage to the crowd controlled enemies is nice. I'm just hitting up a lot of these. Physical damage doesn't actually help, but I just have to path through here for this because this is how I worked it. I could, maybe go up through that way instead, but I would still, maybe want that. 1, 2, 3, 4, so like I could maybe take off these and path up through here and be slightly more optimal. Again, is what it is. Obviously with this, I've got my resplendence here, so I'm just getting all of these nice blue nodes for, big vulnerable damage and stuff. Again, more armor, more armor. We're just looking for armor in every place that we can get it. More armor. Yeah, you can see pretty easily how we're pathing through and getting stuff. Additionally, we also like the block chance that we have over here to get to that 100% and stuff. So that's kind of our Paragon nodes and how that all works. I will have a written guide as well on Icy Veins here. I'll link to it below that you can go through and look very in depth at all of that, right? Let's take a look. Mercenary is whatever. For the divine gifts, I've got lies, squalor, screams, and sin. I would say you could, if you want, change out pain and squalor. These are two that, like, yeah, if you want to go ahead and shift them, you can. These ones are like maybe. But otherwise, these are the ones that I'm working right here. The Fortify is really nice. And then you gain an extra upgrade in the pit. Maggots dropping experience globes is just really, really nice. So while you want to level, it's just good experience. You get increased resistance from screams right there. And then you gain increased armor for sin, which again, increased armor is just broken. So that's how I'm running those. And then for my character, here we can take a look at my stats. 2,860 strength, 60,000 armor, which again, I want to get this up to like 75,000. My resistances are pretty good. They're all about 72% right there, which isn't bad. Crit strike chance is 36.7, but of course this goes up as we're, running around doing stuff in an Arbiter form. Crit damage there. Overpower, I don't believe really works with this build, so you can ignore it. Vulnerable damage, pretty high. All damage, pretty decent. Yeah. And then for our gear, here's what we're using. So I have a Shaco because I found a Shaco. If you don't have a Shaco, don't worry. Like, you can just, there's some really nice, and again, I'll have it in the guide that I'll put up for you guys. Let me see if I can find the list. Okay. Yeah. So here's my little like list of aspects. I know I didn't like write down what they actually are. But essentially you have aspect of ascension can deal 120 damage right there. You have aspect of celestial strife, which is 125% vulnerable damage. Holy damage just comes from the aspect of holy punishment, so that goes 70 there. There's disciple damage from aspect of Ligera's sovereignty, which is 60%. Arbiter wings at 240% is on this one right here. So Tyrael's jurisdiction, you really want to run that one. And then aspect of utmost glory is 35%, but then when everything's weakened, it's doubled and everything's going to be weakened around us. So this is actually like 70%. There's also, if you're in Arbiter form, you gain res. Disciple skills cause weaken. We don't need that one really. Arbiter evade cooldown reduce. That's not for this. There is increased armor. So this is just gain up to 124% armor based on your block chance, which again, we have 100% block chance. So that's really nice for more armor. And then there's one that's just increased armor by 46%. I don't think I have that one on anything now. So I'll have the full list of those, but essentially you want to be looking for armor on gear, right? That's like massive armor on gear. You want to look for stats, get your strength, of course, critical chance, critical strike damage, critical strike chance, and then like max life can be nice as well. And some cooldown reduction is useful. Again, I have tons from Shaco right here. I also have Tyrael's Might. This one is like not as necessary either. This is a nice defensive armor, but I would say you can just run like a nice chesty, or you can run, what's the name of that one mythic? The one that gives +1 all passives. Name is escaping me. Let's go to the crafter. Mythic uniques. Shroud of False Death. So Shroud of False Death is probably going to be like the best armor for this. But if you don't get Shroud of False Death, then like that's fine, right? It's rare to get, right? So you can just use any legendary armor with, again, the same thing of you just really want tons of armor on it, right? Get your armor, get your resistance, or get your life, get your strength. Like that's probably the main three things I'd be looking for. And then you can go from there. My gloves are absolute garbage. Don't even look at them. But, you know, basically you want armor and strength. Ignore these gloves. I literally haven't found gloves that I want, which is why these aren't sanctified or anything. They're just trash. For here, again, we're looking at armor. We're looking at life. And then we'll talk a little bit about like what we're imprinting on them and stuff. For the boots, same idea. You do want move speed as well. Move speed is just really nice to have. So you can see I've got move speed and move speed doubled up right there. And then again, life, strength. I would like armor, but I don't have enough armor in this build. This unique is pretty strong for this build. Obviously, I didn't get a great roll on it. I've had a few of them. They've all been bad rolls. But you really would love this to be a high percent, but any works. So you definitely want to get this if you can. It has the chance for Arbiter to deal double damage. So you can see we have it up at 91.6% chance, which is just fantastic. That's basically all the time we're dealing double damage. We also get more Giant Slayer and some stats and life on it. But the big thing, of course, is Arbiter form increases aura potency by 30% and wing strike damage by 200 to 400% multiplied. That's just super good. This is a wing strikes build. So the point is we run around and our wings just strike everything and just absolutely murder, which is just great. For rings, I'm really just wanting crit strike and critical strike damage, and then, you know, strength, right? The lucky hits like whatever. So this is kind of a 3 of 4 ring, but it's got nice critical strike damage, greater affix, and nice strength. And then I rolled to get critical strike chance. So pretty decent overall right there. This ring as well, similar idea. This one's got critical strike chance, and then we got max life strength and faith on kill. And the faith on kill is actually useful for this because it means I don't have to be running any sort of generator for that. So that one is actually helpful. But, you know, if you want to, you can always run a generator. You can run advance, and then you can make advance a disciple skill with an 8-second cooldown, and that'll be lowered greatly with all your cooldown reduction and all the stuff that drops the cooldowns on it. And so you can just like dash through and get back your stuff very quickly. And then for your shield, Haas is just fantastic. Again, armor, just armor and block chance, right? That's like what this is. And so here you can see I have my 1038 armor, you know, because I also hit on that, which is really nice with my Sanctify, or with my greater affix for masterworking. And so that was just really nice. But just, it's fantastic, right? Because you can also see, and I got a bad roll on this, gain 20 to 50% increased strength, resistance, armor, and retribution chance. So the unique affix of it is just amazing. massive armor and strength boost, which is a massive damage boost, which again, this plus castle is just godlike, just absolutely insane. So that is all of the gear. Using an ancestral over a basic item is not always necessary. Again, an ancestral item, the only thing is that you're getting, you know, like an additional, right, boost. So here, like, my strength is boosted, my maximum life is boosted. You know, that roll is higher than normal. But, you know, for instance, I have let me find. I have a 4 greater affix gloves right here. But they're like, I mean, they're better than what I'm actually wearing. If we're going to be honest, what I'm wearing is garbage. But they're still like not great. Like physical resistance, I'd probably want to roll out of that. Vulnerable damage is fine. Max life is fine. Lucky hit is like fine. But I don't have any critical strike chance. I don't have any critical strike damage. I don't have any strength on it. So I'm kind of missing like the big things that I want. So yes, it's good in that I've hit 4 greater affixes, but it's not like my favorite 4 greater affixes, you know? So again, what I'm currently wearing is still probably just worse than this, if we're going to be honest. And so I should just like up this, but I'm really just waiting till I find like a glove I really like. And that's why I haven't like upgraded or done anything there. Yeah. So let me try and think what else. Mercenary, I don't think really matters that much. You know, I'm running Mercenary with Ground Slam and Bastion down through Inspiration. So, you know, just whatever there. But like, he's fine. And then what am I missing? Let me pull up my guide really fast. This is my Blessed Hammer leveling guide, but at least gives some sense. The Oath, the gear, gems. Oh yeah, gems and runes. So I'm using Mani Gar right here, which is just cast 2 mobility skills, gain critical strike chance for 5 seconds up to 25%, and Falling Star is a mobility skill, and so basically I just like constantly cast Falling Star, and then I get all of this critical strike chance. Right? Nice and easy. And then I'm using Seer Ohm, which invokes the Barbarian's Warcry skill to increase my damage. So pretty simple. And that is from cast 5 skills, then become exhausted. And I cast skills very often again because I'm using Falling Star just very quickly. Additionally, I also use Holy Light, Fanaticism, and Defiance. Just like bang, 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 bang. I use those really fast. So I've got those. For your gems, if you want, you can just use rubies in all of your armors. Use your emerald in your weapon for the critical strike damage, and then diamonds in your jewelry for resistance. So pretty simple with all of those. Yeah, I think that kind of covers most of it. Lastly, I guess we'll just go out to like a Helltide here and show you guys how it plays. So we'll do a quick little showcase of it. It's very strong. Again, you know, it's clearing pit 100, so and beyond. So you can really do anything you want with it. And again, it kind of just moves itself along. I just have, you know, some of the higher damage. It does deal over 1 trillion damage. But, you know, I don't even have to constantly be casting everything. Like, I get a little bit of increased crit strike chance, like we talked about, when I am casting, like, the Falling Star over and over again. But if you want, you can really just run with the build, and everything will just blow up. The damage is is insanely high for this build. So yeah, it's very strong. Like I say, this is probably one of the best, if not, it's not the best. It's one of the best builds though that are in the game, for sure. Like they've, and I think Castle is going to make a lot of Paladin builds some of the best in the game, but this kind of even beats out a lot of the other ones. So yeah, just big damage, everything die, nice and easy. And then, you know, again, when you get into like pit and stuff, you're going to kind of do more. I like to have my Arbiter ultimate down here. You don't have to use this if you don't want. Again, using like the Disciple Advance also totally works. But you know, you don't need to use that. I just like the Arbiter because it's just nice, just like an easy way to get in form for a long time. But bouncing around with just gaining, you know, Arbiter form from casting my Disciple skills also works super easy. So you can just do that. So yeah, it's very strong. This is the Arbiter Wing Strikes that are doing all of that damage. Everything around me is vulnerable. It's all weakened. And so all I have to do is just, you know, move around and everything will die. So anyways, that is the Arbiter Disciple. Again, right now, I mean, I'm Paragon 212. I'd say I can do about pit 106 or so with it. If I upgrade my gloves. Oh, did I talk about my weapon? I don't think I did. Why am I using heralds? What? No wonder my damage is so bad. I mean, it's not like so bad. What happened? That's supposed to be Griswold's Opus. What? How long has that been on there? That's funny. Sure. Where's my other Griswolds? That's actually really funny. I'm glad I did this guide so I could see that. Where did it go? Did I trash it? Oh my god, I think I trashed it. Okay. That's funny. Alright, well, we'll unsocket this.
You lose a little, master.
And we'll add sockets to this. Cool. So the weapon, you do not want to use Herald's Morningstar. This is for Blessed Hammer. You want to use Griswold's Opus. I was wondering why my damage and some things were like looking a little weaker. You want to use Griswold's Opus. And the big reason, I haven't even done anything to this yet, so I have to still, you know, improve it and masterwork it and everything. We can just do that now. And max life. Hit it again. +7 to break the line. I probably want strength. 4 to heavyweight. 7 break the line. Alright, there we go. 187 strength. Perfect. So yeah. So anyways, that's just really funny. You want to use Griswold's Opus. It has strength and life. It has break the line and heavyweights, which is nice. But the big thing is it has dealing direct damage, grants a multiplier of increased critical strike damage for each enemy hit within 10 seconds, up to 88%. For me, up to 100% there. And then at maximum, you gain critical strikes have up to a 50% chance to deal double damage. So your critical strikes literally get to deal double damage by having this on. Fantastic, right? So that's really good. There's also, if you want to use like a weapon that, you know, if you didn't have that, you could use something like this, right? So I rolled like damage and vulnerable damage, strength and life on this guy. And then, you know, I've imprinted casting a skill grants Arbiter form. This is also really nice damage here. But the Grizzled Opus is going to be a little bit nicer. Because, again, we are just really critting a lot, you know, in this build. And so, you know, this is at 34 right now. Should be even higher. I think I really feel like I had a set of gloves that I've put somewhere that I rolled some critical strike on. But we have around 50% critical strike chance. And so this is very helpful for that. So anyways, that's the build. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. Like I say, there will be a written guide down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, YouTube. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.